I've never heard somebody say, I don't like Peyton Manning because he don't act like Deion Sanders, or he don't act like Shedeur Sanders, or he don't act like Michael Vick, or he don't talk like Michael Vick. I've never heard a black person get on TV and say, I don't like Peyton Manning. Like, we appreciate Peyton Manning for what he is. We appreciate Tom Brady for what he is. No black person has ever said Peyton Manning should act more like Michael Vick. No one has said Peyton Manning should run like Michael Vick. Tom Brady should act more like Cam Newton. Phillip Rivers should run more like Cam Newton. I'm not voting for Tom Brady for MVP because he don't run and Cam Newton does run. No one has ever got on national TV or any radio station as a person of color or a black person and criticize a white quarterback for not being like their black counterparts in some type of way. But people constantly get on there and use Peyton Manning or Tom Brady as an example why you should dislike a Cam Newton or Shedeur Sanders. And we keep letting them get on there and get away with this. I'm going to go to football really quick, man, because I got to give a shout out to Shedeur Sanders. His first start against the Raiders. Got a win 24-10. You know, they controlled the game on both ends of the floor or both ends of the field. Shedeur, I thought he played good. Right? Now, was it spectacular? I don't think it was spectacular. Being that he only threw the ball 20 times. He was 11 for 20. You know, he wasn't slinging it, but he made some fascinating throws that wowed a lot of people, right? He made some plays. He showed he could play. And the crazy thing about it is there's still people out there that's not satisfied with this performance, you know, and it's like Colin Cowherd, Rex Ryan, and Mangini for some reason. Like, these dudes are so pissed off at Sanders, right? And they can't even hide what the real issue is. The real issue is not his play. All right. So let's go back a little bit. This man goes to historically black college, Jackson State, did 1 or 2 years there, then goes to Colorado, do 2 years there. Colorado State or Colorado, one of them, Colorado. And he's coached by his dad, prime time, Deion Sanders. Right? They have so many issues with Colorado State, Coach Prime, Shedeur Sanders, and Travis Hunter. Like, they had issues with them, right? If you think about it, when they played their rival, Colorado State, the coach was talking trash about them, saying they Hollywood and we not this, they flashy, they showboaty. I still remember that linebacker was so had so much hate in his heart when he took that late hit on Travis Hunter in his chest, and he had like some type of chest contusion that kept him out like 3 weeks. Like, he went helmet to chest, and the pass was overthrown. He didn't get no hands on it. The linebacker took about 3 steps after the ball was already down, and the receiver is defensive, just sitting there, and went helmet to chest. I'm pretty sure that dude was probably spitting blood up, man, right? Like, that's how much hate they had. They had like a ESPN was in their locker room. Like, their locker room speech was about they Hollywood and we about to come out there and punch them in their mouth. They pretty boys. You know, they really felt like Colorado was making a mockery of college football. There was multiple coaches. I mean, it was multiple coaches that had just insane stuff to say about Coach Prime and Shedeur. And instead of them just shutting up like they wanted them to shut up, they kept talking, and they was, you know, wearing their watches and stuff like that. That's where they got the watch thing from, because I think they used to wear their jewelry to the game or whatnot. You know, they'll take it out before the game, but like, you know, they mad. They were all up in Rolls Royces and Rolexes and stuff like that. They was jealous. Right. And a lot of people in the media hated them as well and wanted them to lose. They're not even that good. Why they getting all this attention? How they get these TV games? and they wanted them to fail, right? That was evident. So what it boils down to, and I just want to be honest and frank about this, what it boils down to is for in a professional setting, especially athletics, and it's probably go for everywhere. I don't know if it's threatening, annoying. I don't know what the word is for it, but for some reason, people get uncomfortable when they see a cocky black person. And let's just be real about it. I mean, we grown-ups, right? We can talk, right? A cocky black man is annoying or threatening or I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can't really put a word to it, but something rubs people the wrong way about a cocky person in general, but a cocky black man really rubs people the wrong way. Right? So the people that had issues with Shedeur Sanders really don't have an issue with how he play on the field. They got an issue with him being cocky. I don't like that you're confident and cocky. So what happens when you start disliking a person by how they act or how they carry themselves when they're an athlete? Most people can't separate their dislike for how you act from how you play. And then when they start to critique you, if you just happen to be a radio host, radio personality, TV personality, and you're supposed to be critiquing the game, you can't take your dislike for this person and their persona and their personality and their demeanor and their cockiness. You can't take that away from your football analysis. And it becomes one. And when they start saying, is this guy good? You start trying to say stuff like, he's really not that good. He can't do this, this, and that. And really what you're really naming is his cockiness, because it always comes back to that. If you can try to name stuff on the football field that he can't do, but for the most part, it be lies. Because the knock on Shedeur is he's not even that fast. Why the hell he need to be fast? He's a pocket quarterback. He don't have a cannon for an arm. Well, that's a lie, sir. He does have a good arm. Right? So they start saying stuff like that, and then it get to the real reason that they don't like him. They start saying he's cocky and he's this and he's that, and I like my quarterbacks this way and that way, which is funny because when you look at a guy like Lamar Jackson, they say, why you don't act more like Lamar Jackson? Because Lamar Jackson is, I guess, not cocky. But the crazy thing about that is then you got another half of the people that say, we don't like Lamar Jackson because he run too much. So damn if you do, damn if you don't. If you act the right way, but you play the quarterback position different than what they're comfortable with, then they got a problem with you anyway. So if you're black, you can't be cocky and you can't be a running quarterback. You have to be humble and a pocket passer if you're black. And if you do that, then we might like you. But if you're not a black quarterback and you're, what's my man in Buffalo? Josh Allen, then you can be cocky and a running quarterback. And if you're young and you're Jackson Dart, you can be exciting and you can dance and touchdown dance and you can do all this and you can be all of that and a running quarterback and we'll like you. So if you're black, you can't be a runner because we're not going to like you, and you can't be cocky. You got to stay in the box. Be like Peyton Manning. If you're black, you need to be like Peyton Manning. But if you're white, oh, we go praise you if you can run. Crazy double standard. Listen to how some of them talk.
Browns needed a win. They got to win. Were you a fan of the comments from Browns' new starting quarterback?
Why? That's how we got here, right? Isn't it? That's how we kind of ended up in the 5th round, because of talking like that, because of presenting yourself like that. And I get it. You want to be confident, and that's fine. You should be confident, but you don't need to take it to this level. And it's one of those things where you had 11 completions, and the defense had 10 sacks.
Okay, so he now he's poo-pooing the game he had, which is funny, right? So that asks him. Now this is the first segment of their show this morning, or the morning after the game that he won. And here's Eric Mangini on the show. This is a coach that can't keep a coaching job, but he's on the show. And the first thing that you say when they ask you about what do you think about Shedeur Sanders, first of all, they asked the question in a way that was already jacked up, because they asked, what do you think about what he said in his post game? Forget analyzing the actual game and how did he play. We want you to take this opportunity to preach on what he said, because what he said is so important. And the first thing Mangini said is, this is why you ended up in the 5th round. So what he's telling you right then and there is, your play on the field is not why you got taken in the 5th round. He knows that, because he knows the talk that's going around amongst GMs and front office people. So he knows, and we know that. We know he was a 1st round talent. So for him to end up in the 4th round, we know that was, we go humble this kid. Right? So the first thing he said is, see, why? Why would you say that? This is why you ended up in the 4th round, in the 5th round. That's what he said. And then he's going to try to poo-poo on his game and say, you only had 11 for 20 and the defense played lights out. Well, you know what? Guess who else got a lights out defense, y'all? The New York Giants got a lights out defense. Lights out. And Jackson Dart's first game, he only had 111 yards. That's him on the right in the highlight. On the left, that's Cam Ward, the number 1 pick. Look at their first game. On the left, you see the Broncos' first game against Cam Ward. He had 112 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. And they lost. On the right, you see Jackson Dart in New York. Jackson Dart defense is just as good as the Browns. This is his first game. He had 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 111 yards. They already gave him the title of a franchise quarterback and a superstar. They gave him that title after his 3rd game. But look at his first game, 111 yards. Nobody talked about how he ran the ball most of the time. Like, he ran the ball like Lamar Jackson. That's why he's injured now. He's got a concussion because he's running too much. And if he's not careful, he's going to be like Anthony Richardson over there in the Colts if he don't keep his butt in the pocket. Right? He's not that spectacular, but he runs and he's fast and he's exciting. He's in New York. That's a big market. And he dances after he scores his touchdown. Like, he's a real cool dude. Like, real hip, real urban. And they love it. Oh, my God. They love when Josh Allen runs. And they love when Jackson Dart is running right now. So being a running quarterback is cool. But if you're a black running quarterback, you're going to get all types of criticism. We'll get to that later. But look at the first game. Now, he won that game against the Chargers, but then he turned around and lost the next game against the Saints, which is pretty much one of the worst teams in the league. He had 2 interceptions in that game. Had 2 touchdowns, 202 yards. That's a good game. 202 yards. Shedeur he just had 20 yards, 209 yards. So his first game that he started was a 209-yard game with a touchdown. And he could have had more touchdowns if they would have kept him in the red zone for those 2 plays that they did the Wildcat on. He could have ended up with 3 or 4 touchdowns in this game. But yeah, he only threw it 20 times and completed 11 of them and got 1 touchdown. Yeah. But that's a bad thing now?
You were playing the Raiders, which just fired their offensive coordinator. Things are fairly dysfunctional with that group.
So now the team you played was bad. But Jackson Dart lost to a bad team in the Saints.
And I get it. You had 1 week of practice. Baker Mayfield went to the Rams with less than 48 hours.
Baker Mayfield wasn't a rookie when he went to the Rams with 48 hours to play. He wasn't a rookie at that time. He was in his 4th, 5th, 6th year or something like that. He wasn't a rookie. So that's not even a comparison.
Practice and lit it up when he was there. So 1 week of practice, you were there for OTAs, you were there for training camp, you've been there all season, you've been in every single meeting, you were the backup quarterback, so you had 1 week of practice. How many weeks of practice do you need? So let's see. Let's see now that you get more than 1 week of practice, how dangerous you are. Baker woke up feeling dangerous and he got shipped out. And then he was with 2 more teams before, he became dangerous again. So let's see. I think that there's some value in humbleness. Humbleness is not.
So he wants Shedeur to be humble, right? He don't like Shedeur has confidence. Confidence is a bad thing. I want you to be humble. And this is what he's saying is the reason why he drops to the 5th round, because he's cocky. And people don't want him because he's cocky. They don't want him to have confidence. I don't understand why. Why does everybody have to fit a box that you think is cool? Like, for the most part, black people, especially when you get really good at something, are very cocky. We eventually humble ourselves. Life humbles us sometimes. Let us grow into that. You can't force nobody not to be. I'm cocky. I'm sorry. You can't humble me by telling me I need to tone it down. You can't humble me like that. This is how I am naturally. I'm not forcing this. I'm naturally like this. Why you got to be uncomfortable with it? The people that coached him in college wasn't uncomfortable with it. Nobody had nothing bad to say about Shedeur. And it wasn't just because his dad was his coach. All these other people that came around Shedeur, Tom Brady coached him. Aaron Rodgers said he loved him. Like, everybody that's on the Browns team got nothing but good to say about him. The media that was around him got nothing good. Like, there's nothing bad that you say about him once you meet this kid and you get to see his work ethic and all that stuff. Like, there's nothing bad to say about it. Why you just can't lean on the truth? And the crazy thing about it is they dislike him so much coming out of the draft, they had to start making stories up about him to justify it. Because now this don't make sense how somebody this good dropped to the 5th round. Are y'all purposely doing something? Oh, no, I heard he did this and I heard he came into the meeting like this, and they start spreading lies about it. And now then he got drafted. He's with the Browns, and the Browns named Dylan Gabriel the starting quarterback or the quarterback too. Everybody was like, "Damn, what's up with Shedeur?" Because from with the reports I'm hearing that he's lightening up at practice. And they had to start making up lies then and saying, nah, he's not studying and he's not sitting at the front row in film study, and Gabriel is way ahead of him as far as knowing the playbook. He don't know the playbook like Dylan Gabriel, and all this stuff. Like, all this stuff is turning out to be lies. Then they said his arm was weak and he can't run. Like, all this is turning into lies. Every time you see him play, everything looks like lies. So what is the real thing? And also, if Dylan Gabriel looked this bad in 6 games and Shedeur already looked better than him after 1 game he started, what did Coach Stefanski see at training camp that made him say that Shedeur wasn't as ready as Gabriel? I'm interested in knowing what he saw.
Not necessarily a negative trait in the NFL. Confidence is fantastic. It can be contagious. But there's some value also in being somewhat humble and appreciating the opportunities you have, as opposed to, making everything adversarial with the current coaching staff.
Listen to Cowherd.
In a weird way, Shedeur Sanders is the perfect holiday fling. You play around for the next 6 or 7 weeks, and then eventually Cleveland moves on to a steady or somebody they're going to have, a 15-year relationship with. I don't think he has great traits. He doesn't have a huge arm. He's not hyper athletic. He doesn't have a cannon. He's kind of loose and fun and capable. I thought it was a lot of fun. No, the conspiracy theory crowd, you can't listen to that nonsense. I don't think Shedeur is a 30-year marriage. I thought he'd go 13-18 with a horrible pick, and he went 11 for 20 with a horrible pick. But overall, you got some big plays. There's no reason to go back to Dylan Gabriel. Let's let this thing play out.
So he called the man Tim Tebow. This is after the win, because y'all, if y'all go back and listen to the stuff they said before Shedeur Sanders got on the field, especially after that second preseason game where he didn't play well. Remember, he played really good his first preseason game, and then the second one that he played in, was a week before all the players got cut, and he played with all the players that got cut. The third unit guys, right? And he didn't have a good showing. So after that, everybody was like, see, I told you. And that's when they really came out. He's not a franchise quarterback. He's not this. He don't have an arm. You heard what he said. He don't have an arm. He can't run. He's not a good athlete. All this crazy stuff. I'm like, dang, that sounds like Tom Brady to me, but okay, cool. But they're saying all of this stuff. He called them Tim Tebow just now. I mean, they said worse things. This is what he's saying after the win. That was way much worse with way more vitriol before this. Before he came out here and got a win in his first start. Before this, they talked stone cold, especially Cowherd, stone cold cash shit about Shedeur, especially Rex Ryan, and be so mad with it. Like their demeanor be changed. And man, I'm like, dude, you're not even doing your job right now. You're like mad in real life on national TV. You like mad. And Rex Ryan was mad. He was mad at him after he came in the second half and lost to the Ravens. And he was disappointed in himself because they had a lead at halftime. And when he came in, they couldn't score and the Ravens came back and won. So he was on the bench with his head down after the game. And Rex Ryan was screaming at him the next morning, talking about get your butt up and go find it. Lamar Jackson was looking for you. A real quarterback was looking for you. And he couldn't find you because you over there pouting like you lost the Super Bowl. The dude can't have a moment. Like everything that he do or say is bad to Rex Ryan and people like Rex Ryan. I mean, he's been critiqued on more occasions on whatever show Rex Ryan is on in the morning about what he said or something he did. And the latest thing was just him sitting on the bench. He didn't even say nothing. He was just sitting on the bench. And Rex Ryan went off on him. Then he went off on him when he said something, when he was interviewed, when they asked him about something. And he was like, I'm not gonna talk. He just didn't talk. He got him on about that. He got on him when he did talk. Like everything Rex Ryan is getting on him, and every time he get on, he's screaming and saying, "This is why you ain't playing." And when everyone was first asking why Shedeur not getting playing time, Rex Ryan went off and said, "It's got to be something wrong with this kid because he's too good." So if Stefanski, he says Stefanski is a good coach. He's won 2 Coach of the Years. So if Stefanski's not playing him, it must be something that this kid is doing wrong. And he's yelling based on a guess. He must be doing something wrong, I'm guessing, because that's the only reason why Stefanski wouldn't play him. But that's under normal circumstances. Have it ever occurred to you, you skinny fat, I ain't gonna say nothing. Have it ever occurred to you that this isn't normal circumstances and you can't look at this like a normal situation? It's already not normal once a first round talent drops to the 5th round. It's already not normal once a team takes a quarterback in the 3rd round and then trades up to take Shedeur in the 5th round. Well, that's already not normal. Something's not right. Something's not normal. Why did that happen? Those 2 things happened. First round talent dropped. A team took a quarterback in the 3rd round and then traded up to take a quarterback in the 5th round. That's already not normal. So can you think that him not playing should be abnormal as well? Don't look at it as a normal situation under normal circumstances and say, well, if he's not playing, there must be something wrong. Nah, it might be something going on with that coaching staff and that front office. Have you ever thought about that? Right? So Rex Ryan, skinny fat ass. Here you go.
The whole season with all those other Browns, they completed 1 ball over 35 yards. One. That's why Myles Garrett's like, holy cow. Like, whatever. Now look, did he play great? No. And 100% Dano. Yes, it's about the defense. Yeah. They had 10 sacks. Yeah. Shedeur, can I please, I know you don't listen, but please, every time you win a game, okay, your team wins a game, please use we and us. That's it. And anytime you lose, it's me and I. And watch your popularity in your locker room, around the country will go like this. Right now, they look at like, your defense, first thing you should have said is, we had 10 sacks on the quarterback.
Right.
Are you kidding me? Miles Garrett's the man. Like, come on, build people up. You're at that place. Build it. Don't just, we're going to give you praise. You don't need to give it yourself.
He was fine. He was good. He played well. A final word. Miles
Yeah,
Garrett,
thanks,
what-
Dan
what do we say?
Orlowski. He said he was fine, dude. Like, come on, man. Seriously. Yeah. You can't get mad at everything this man say in his post game interviews, man. Like Rex Ryan's gonna get mad at everything. He want him to be a certain way, which is crazy because he only has that box for him to be in for black quarterbacks. He only black quarterbacks have to be in that box because coaches are so uncomfortable with a cocky. They don't know how to deal with that type of personality. That's why you need more diversity in coaching because their coaches, I'm pretty sure Mike Tomlin don't see anything that Shedeur is doing is a problem because he understands that. Like that's a real thing. Like when a white person that grew up a certain way sees another white person that grew up that way, it's an understanding there. And that's the reason why having 30 teams owned by 30 white men was always resulting in whenever they interview coaches, they end up hiring a white male coach, right? Even if they're not consciously being biased, the unconscious bias is going to be there, right? I can ask the same questions and the way y'all answer it, y'all might can answer the same way. It's just a different frequency that you are on that I relate to more. I'm going to be more comfortable with that. So who do I want to write this $10 million check to for the next 4 years? Right? No one's going to go with if you got something that's comfortable and something that's uncomfortable, no one's going to go with the uncomfortable situation to write $10 million to. So every time a white owner hires a white coach, it makes sense. That's why diversity is important. There shouldn't be 30 white owners that own 30 teams. There should be more minority. Well, I ain't even gonna say minority. There should be more black owners. Forget minority because minority could be a female. Minority could be a Jewish person. Minority could be a LGBT person. Or minority could be any other race other than white. So I'm gonna be frank and say no, not more minority owners, more black owners. There needs to be more black front office people because that's the ultimate O positive blood type. If you want to be real, they say O positive blood type. You can give that to anybody, right? I think black people in America is the ultimate O positive because we've been trained so well to accept and assimilate to the culture of the dominant society in America. We're comfortable with both ways. We're definitely comfortable with what we come from, but we're also comfortable with what we're trained with because the dominant society has trained us. So we're comfortable with both. So it's more likely that if there's a black owner and he's interviewing a black coach and a white coach, it's not going to be all that biased, even if it's conscious or unconscious. That's just my opinion, right? That's just my opinion. So, and that's why coaches like Mike Tomlin was okay. He was comfortable with Ben Roethlisberger. He didn't need to go find a black quarterback that he could relate to more. Tony Dungy was comfortable with Peyton Manning, right? So, yeah, it's kind of funny that both the Harbaughs are the ones that take chances on black quarterbacks. Harbaugh took a chance on Kaepernick in San Francisco, and then his brother took a chance on Lamar. Obviously, somebody raised them well enough that they comfortable with it. But you can't say that for a lot of people. You just can't say it. Most of these coaches are hiring what look like them or what they're comfortable with. So when it comes to Rex, the reason why he's so fired up, the reason why Mangione, which is crazy, they're both coaches. The reason why they both are responding that way is because I don't know how to relate to someone like Shedeur being cocky and talking the way he talks, even though he's a good leader and everyone in the locker room loves him and he's coachable and he don't give nobody no problems. He's never went and got in trouble out in the public. He don't have no off the field issues. You never heard about him messing up his grades. He went to school for 4 years. He didn't have to leave early because he wasn't doing his work. Like, think about this. Your only knock on him is that you think he's cocky. And then you let that spill over into your critique of his football game and you start lying about his arm being weak and him not being a good athlete. I got one more clip on Cowherd. And it's funny. I want you to hear how now Shedeur Sanders, the knock on black quarterbacks before used to be that they run too much. Randall Cunningham, Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson, Kaepernick. Like they always running. They don't stay in the pocket. Shedeur Sanders is a pure pocket passer. He's not looking to run. So when they said that Cam Newton, those type of quarterbacks, they glorify running backs, and that's not going to work at the next level. You got to throw the ball. When they see a quarterback that's black that throws the ball, they still find some type of issue with him, and his issue is that he's cocky. So if you're not cocky, my issue is you run too much. But if you don't run too much and you stay in the pocket, then I still go have to find some type of issue with you. I can't be comfortable with you some type of way. Listen to the different ways that the black quarterback is making people uncomfortable. Listen to Cowherd talk about Shedeur.
To Shedeur Sanders is, this is fun. We got a guy. So now I think Shedeur's a little goofy. I like my quarterbacks to be serious and intense.
He said, I think he's goofy, and I like my quarterbacks to be serious and intense.
Really like Peyton Manning.
I like Peyton Manning. Go figure. Go figure. You want him to act like Peyton Manning. How can he act like Peyton Manning when he was raised by Deion Sanders? He wasn't raised by Arch Manning. He was raised by primetime Deion Sanders. How can he act like Peyton Manning? Why can't you just like your quarterbacks to throw the ball well? So it's not enough for you to throw the ball well on the field. You also have to act like a white quarterback. They're not even hiding this.
I like serious, intense, totally focused quarterbacks. And Shedeur's a little goofy. He's a little casual. I think sometimes he's a little juvenile. He feels like a kid. But I don't think you can deny that there's a different feeling when he's the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns.
He said a different feeling. He don't want to go out and say what he said about Jackson Dart, though. Right? You can Google it. Listen to what he said about Jackson Dart. Just Google Colin Cowherd and Jackson Dart. When Jackson Dart won that game against Philly, oh my God, that's a franchise quarterback. Philly, you found your quarterback. That's what a franchise quarterback looks like. He's exciting, scatterboo. Like, he was talking about how exciting and how much energy, which I agree with. When they took Russell Wilson out of the game and put Jackson Dart in, and they started giving carries to Scatterboo and Jackson Dart became instant stars in New York and around the football NFL. Like they got personality. They do touchdown dances. They're exciting. They high-fiving their teammates. Everybody, like the whole team got a jolt of energy. Mind you, the Giants are 2-10. So this superstar that Jackson Dart is, he's won 2 games since he's been starting. Shedeur started 1 game and already won 1. Cam Ward, the number 1 draft pick in the league, they're 1-11. He's won 1 game out of 12 tries. Shedeur already got 1 game. Shedeur has as much games as the number 1 pick, Cam Ward. And everyone had them rated as the number 1 and number 2 quarterback. Cam Ward with number 1, Shedeur dropped to the 5th round. He gets in the game. He's already got 1 win. Over in Tennessee, this man got 1 win out of 12 tries. right? So 1 win for Cam, 2 wins for Jackson Dart, but they both are superstars and Shedeur is not. He couldn't even give credit to Shedeur for being a great quarterback and saying that he's the future quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. He still think the Cleveland Browns need to get a quarterback in the draft. But just seeing Jackson Dart win 1 game against Philly, franchise quarterback, he's a superstar. That you see how he acts, you see the energy. The energy is good for Jackson Dart. The energy for Shedeur is just, he called him Tim Tebow.
It just looks and feels differently, and that's why he should start.
He should start because it looks and feels different in how bad Dylan Gabriel is, right? So what he said reminds me of something that was said last year by a female Hispanic host. Even catch strays from our Hispanic counterparts. He said, I like my quarterbacks to be serious like Peyton Manning. She said, I like my quarterbacks to be quarterbacky.
A little goofy for my taste, but he does add something, as RG3 talked about.
You don't think Lamar Jackson's the most valuable player in the National Football League?
No, I don't.
This is absurd.
What are you talking about? You are absurd. Listen, I want my quarterbacks to be quarterbacky. And to me, Lamar Jackson's just a great athlete.
That was her on a Fox radio, and that was last year when the MVP race was heating up. Year before last, and she didn't. A lot of people thought Lamar was the front runner, and she was like, "No, he can't be. Why?" He run too much. She said, I like my quarterbacks to be quarterbacky. I did a show on that. If y'all want to go check it out, it might be titled, I think I might have titled it Quarterbacky. I call her Becky, but Quarterbacky instead of quarterbacky. She said, I like my quarterbacks to be quarterbacky. So I guess what she means is to be a pocket passer. So on one end, you got some people saying, I don't like running quarterbacks, which are mostly, historically mostly black quarterbacks, but now you got a lot of running quarterbacks of all races now. But it's okay when Josh Allen and Jackson Dart run, remember. But you're not quarterbacky if you're Lamar Jackson and you run. So you get criticized for being a running quarterback if you're black, but Shedeur Sanders get criticized for being a pocket passer because he don't act like Peyton Manning. If you naturally are a fast athlete, but you play a position that the dominant society tell us don't use your legs in this position, then if you're naturally or the way you was raised give you a level of cockiness, they also say, oh, now tone that down too. Just let them be who they are, dog. Just let them be who they are. Imagine if someone said, I've never heard somebody say, I don't like Peyton Manning because he don't act like Deion Sanders, or he don't act like Shedeur Sanders, or he don't act like Michael Vick, or he don't talk like Michael Vick. I've never heard a black person get on TV and say, I don't like Peyton Manning. Like, we appreciate Peyton Manning for what he is. We appreciate Tom Brady for what he is. No black person has ever said Peyton Manning should act more like Michael Vick. No one has said Peyton Manning should run like Michael Vick. Tom Brady should act more like Cam Newton. Phillip Rivers should run more like Cam Newton. I'm not voting for Tom Brady for MVP because he don't run and Cam Newton does run. No one has ever got on national TV or any radio station as a person of color or a black person and criticize a white quarterback for not being like their black counterparts in some type of way. But people constantly get on there and use Peyton Manning or Tom Brady as an example why you should dislike a Cam Newton or a Shedeur Sanders. And we keep letting them get on there and get away with this. And Rex Ryan is up there spitting all this venom to Shedeur Sanders, and Randy Moss is just sitting there looking like freaking Uncle Tom or freaking Step and Fetch from the Django, just sitting there, just letting him say all that. And big fat, I don't know, the old lineman that was his fat ass with a suit that looked like it took 16 buffaloes that you had to kill to make it, just sitting there, just letting him just say this stuff. And ain't nobody checking him. Give me the damn job. Let me go on there and sit beside these fat roly-polies. Give me the job, let me sit beside them and let one of them try that shit when I'm sitting there. I just don't understand it, dog. Check these people. It don't make no sense, man. Shedeur Sanders don't have to be like freaking Peyton Manning. He don't. He can talk the way he talk, and he should still be able to get the same opportunity. You know what I mean? I just don't get it, dog.